All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Injury Report. I'm your host, Dr. John, and welcome to Mobility Doc Sports Network. This is where we gather for those whose teams are horrible and we've given up on the season, but at least we still have fantasy. So let's get right into it. Starting with some quarterbacks, lot of injury news regarding this position especially. Andy Dalton was in a car accident on Tuesday. Thankfully, he is all right, but he did sprain his thumb, and he will likely be out this week on Sunday, which means it is the Bryce Young show. Now, fantasy-wise, that might come with a little bit of hesitancy, so if you have Deontay Johnson, for example, I don't know if there's anyone else even on that offense, but you may want to look in another direction. You've probably heard already, but Deshaun Watson did rupture his Achilles on Sunday with a non-contact injury. And also during that game, the backup quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, sustained a finger injury, and he is also unlikely to play on Sunday. That means the man himself, Mr. 30 for 30, the legend Jameis Winston, the crab legs. Can't forget about the crab legs. He will be starting for the Browns on Sunday, which hopefully he'll provide a little bit of a spark, as well as the fact that Nick Chubb is officially back. He played last week for the first time in almost a year. He scored a touchdown, which is fantastic, but other than that, his numbers were a little bit pedestrian, but he's working back into his role and expect him to take the lead role away from Jerome Ford pretty quickly. Another quarterback that's been out for a little while, Tua Tagovailoa, has been reinstated off of IR and is now practicing on a limited basis. Now, the thought process is that he is going to play this week, but don't be surprised if they decide to wait another week. Hopefully, that's his last concussion, but make sure you check out a video coming up where I go into a little bit deeper of a dive about Tua and why he continues to have these concussions and what his reaction to them all mean. Jaden Daniels, the superstar stud rookie quarterback for the Washington Commanders, who has been taking the league by storm. Fantastic fantasy pickup, by the way. I'm sure somebody already has him by now, but if he's still out there, or if you're looking for a quarterback, see if you can get your hands on him. He is having a fantastic season, but he is most likely not going to play this week with a rib injury that he suffered this past Sunday. He did receive treatment on Wednesday instead of practicing, but since he's considered week to week, it's a little bit muddier, and more than likely than not, he will not play this week. But hopefully he will, and if you have him, definitely start him because he is on fire. Alrighty, let's get to some running backs. There's nothing on these papers, by the way. It just looks fancy. Indianapolis Colts running back Jonathan Taylor finally returned to practice. It is about time. He was a limited participant on Wednesday, but that's the first time he's practiced in a little while, and hopefully he will be able to get on the field this Sunday. Now, unfortunately, along with quarterbacks, there were a ton of wide receiver injuries. None more notably than the Tampa Buccaneers offense, where both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin had to leave the game. Evans re-aggravated his hamstring injury, which he sustained a few weeks ago, while Chris Godwin dislocated his ankle. And as far as I'm aware, he did undergo surgery to repair it, and he is expected to miss the rest of this season. Someone else who is also going to require surgery is Brandon Ayuk. The 49ers cannot catch a break. Brandon Ayuk has torn his ACL and MCL during last week's game against the Chiefs and is now expected to miss the rest of the season. Also in 49er news, because if that wasn't good enough, not only is McCaffrey still out, Kittle's now questionable, Mixon is questionable, but Deebo Samuel tried to play and gutted out last week with an illness. However, he took a trip to the hospital on Monday and was diagnosed with pneumonia, which is typically caused by an infection, whether it's bacterial, viral, or fungal, but more often than not, bacterial. What occurs is fluid builds up in the lungs, which makes it difficult to breathe. And you can, I'm sure, understand how that's incredibly difficult then to not be able to breathe fully and play football. He was seen in street clothes after the first half in the Niners game. He was released from the hospital on Tuesday, and currently there is no definitive timetable for him to return, but they have not ruled it out that he will play this week. So he's definitely someone to keep an eye on. With Ayuk out, for a full recovery, it's going to take Ayuk about anywhere from 6 months to a year, but more realistically, somewhere in that 9 to 10 month mark, and get back for next season. Deebo Samuel is definitely in line to see a large amount of the targets that would normally go to Ayuk. And Samuel's already been having a pretty good year when he plays, so make sure you keep an eye on him. With Ayuk as well, what's interesting with ACLs is that even though they can be surgically repaired, and then after that 9 to 10 month mark where they can return to sport and activity, Typically, it takes about another year afterwards for a lot of athletes to feel confident in that knee when they're cutting, running, and moving at full speed, especially in a way that professional athletes do, especially at the NFL and playing football. Obviously, it's never too early to think about next season. As a Jets fan, I understand that better than anyone. But for next season, make sure you pay attention to that with Ayuk, as typically it takes another year or so for the athlete to get confident cutting off of that leg. Last one, another wide receiver, but this is good news for everybody. Cooper Kupp has no designation. He has been activated off of IR, and he is going to play this week, which is awesome news for Rams fans, the Rams themselves, as well as fantasy owners, as he has been out since week 2, I believe, week 2 or week 3. If you have him in your lineup on your team, make sure you throw him in there, because he's going to get a huge amount of targets this week, with Nakua out and the Rams needing a spark. Oh, and this just in, the Jets are still horrible. I don't know if anyone happened to catch that Sunday night game against the Steelers. I wish I didn't. I hope you didn't. But I truly don't understand how a team could have like 12 all-pros, whether it's past or current or prospective ones, and only be able to score 15 points. I don't know. I don't get it. I hope next year we have a really nice draft pick. I don't know what the quarterback class is coming out, but we clearly need one. Yeah, or honestly, I don't even know if it's quarterback at this point. There's just sadness. Look at my eyes. Do you see the pain? I don't know what to do anymore. And on top of all of that, there are 16 players listed on the injury report for the Jets. 16. I don't even know if the 49ers have that many. It's insane. Rodgers has like 3 different injuries, and he's getting hit every other play, so that makes sense. Some of them are rest, like Tyron Smith, who unfortunately, at least last week, forgot how to play left tackle. But I just don't know anymore. I think I've said this before, but stay away from the Jets. Look at me. Don't let this become you. Don't let these teams control your mental state and mood for the next 3 months, if you make it that far. Don't do it. Don't be like me. Be better. Move into fantasy. Let you dictate your terms for happiness, because I've lost all hope. It's over. The Jets are going to finish like probably 7-10 for the 3rd straight year if we're lucky. We'll trade for Zach Wilson. I don't know. But yeah, that is this week's injury report. As always, let me know in the comments if there's anyone that you're interested to hear about, someone that I skipped over, a specific team, or if there's just a specific injury that you have questions with about recovery timelines or anything of that nature. Hopefully you enjoyed this weekly report. And as always, let me take on the pain. Enjoy the NFL season. Enjoy your fantasy team. And hopefully the Jets win. If they can't beat New England, it's over. I'm calling it quits. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you in the next one. I haven't taken a sip from this yet. Yeah, delicious. Nothing. Maybe I should fill it.